If you were a kid in the late 80s or early 90s, chances are you were caught up in Turtlemania. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles dominated TV screens, toy aisles, and lunchboxes, becoming a cultural phenomenon. Naturally, other studios saw dollar signs and scrambled to create their own version of mutant animal heroes. Some of these knockoffs were actually solid shows, while others were blatant cash grabs. Either way, they flooded the market with anthropomorphic action teams, hoping to replicate the Turtles' success. Today, we're taking a deep dive into some of the most memorable and bizarre TMNT-inspired series that tried to carve out their own niche in the world of extreme, radical, and totally tubular animation. Street Sharks. If any show screamed blatant TMNT ripoff, it was Street Sharks. Taking the mutant animal plus extreme attitude == success formula to its logical extreme, Street Sharks gave us 4 muscle-bound, rollerblading, pizza-loving brothers who were transformed into humanoid sharks by a mad scientist. Much like the Turtles, they had distinct personalities. Ripster was the leader, Jab was the tough guy, Streaks was the cool one, and Big Slamu was the strong, gentle giant. Together they fought against the evil Dr. Paradigm and his mutant sea creatures. Everything about Street Sharks was designed to be extreme, from the ridiculous action sequences to the over-the-top catchphrases like "Jawsome." While it had a solid toy line and ran for 3 seasons, it never captured the same charm as TMNT. The show often felt like it was trying too hard to be cool, and the character designs were so exaggerated that it was hard to take seriously. Still, for kids who loved mutant animals and mindless action, Street Sharks was a fun ride, even if it never reached the heights of its inspiration.
Extreme Dinosaurs! Extreme Dinosaurs!
Extreme Dinosaurs. When Street Sharks proved that turning animals into extreme muscle-bound warriors could be profitable, the next logical step was Dinosaurs. Enter Extreme Dinosaurs, a show that took prehistoric creatures and cranked up the 90s attitude to 11. The series followed a team of genetically altered dinosaurs, T-Bone, Stegs, Bullseye, and Spike, who battled an evil faction of raptors led by the villainous Bad Rap. They weren't just strong, they were extreme, often using their exaggerated dinosaur abilities in completely ridiculous ways, like turning tails into battering rams or spitting acid. The show had all the over-the-top action and cheesy one-liners you'd expect from a TMNT clone, but it leaned more into the sci-fi realm, with alien invaders and futuristic weapons thrown into the mix. While Extreme Dinosaurs had a brief run, it left a lasting impression, especially with its aggressive in-your-face marketing. The toy line was popular, featuring massive, exaggerated figures that fit right in with the Street Sharks aesthetic. The show itself, however, never quite reached the heights of its predecessor or TMNT. It lacked the charm and humor that made the Turtles work, and instead relied on constant shouting, explosions, and forced 90s lingo. Still, if you were a kid who loved dinosaurs, this show was a dream come true. It was dumb fun, but in an era where everything had to be extreme, it fit right in. SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron. While not a direct TMNT ripoff, SWAT Cats definitely borrowed from the Turtles' success, combining anthropomorphic action heroes with a heavy dose of 90s edge. The show followed Chance T-Bone Furlong and Jake Razor Clawson, 2 vigilante fighter pilots who patrolled Mega Cat City in their high-tech jet, the Turbo Cat. Unlike TMNT, which mixed humor with its action, SWAT Cats took itself a little more seriously, delivering fast-paced, high-stakes battles against a rogues gallery of sci-fi and supernatural villains. The animation was sleek, the action was intense, and the jet fighter sequences were some of the best in 90s cartoons. Despite its cult following, SWAT Cats never reached TMNT-level popularity, likely because it lacked a strong toy line or a marketable hook beyond cool cats flying jets. However, it remains one of the better shows to emerge from the anthropomorphic hero craze. It had solid world building, a distinct aesthetic, and a darker tone that set it apart from the goofier TMNT knockoffs. Unlike some of the more blatant cash-ins, SWAT Cats was a legitimately well-made show that deserved more than the 2 seasons it got. Battletoads. If there was ever a video game that screamed, "We want to be the Ninja Turtles," it was Battletoads. The game, released by Rare in 1991, was a blatant attempt to cash in on TMNT's popularity, featuring 3 buff, attitude-heavy toads, Rash, Zitz, and Pimple, fighting an evil dominatrix called the Dark Queen. It was a tough-as-nails beat-em-up game that gained a cult following, so naturally someone thought it deserved a cartoon. Unfortunately, that cartoon lasted exactly 1 episode before getting scrapped. The Battletoads animated special aired in 1992 and tried to inject the same TMNT-style humor and wacky storytelling. The plot revolved around 3 teenage losers who get transformed into mutant toads and sent to an alien planet to fight evil. It had all the standard TMNT knockoff tropes: goofy one-liners, exaggerated action, and a reliance on extreme 90s slang. But it lacked the charm of the Turtles. The animation was cheap, the writing was weak, and it felt more like a commercial for the game than a genuine attempt at a TV series. Unlike TMNT, which had years of comic book lore to build from, Battletoads felt slapped together, and audiences weren't buying it.
They're so bad, they've got more fur than any turtle ever had.
Samurai Pizza Cats. While many TMNT knockoffs tried to be radical and extreme, Samurai Pizza Cats went in a completely different direction: pure chaos. This Japanese anime, localized for American audiences in 1991, followed a team of anthropomorphic cat warriors who fought crime in a futuristic city when they weren't running a pizza shop. Unlike TMNT, which had a solid mix of action and humor, Samurai Pizza Cats leaned fully into comedy, often breaking the 4th wall and making fun of its own premise. The English dub was particularly unhinged, featuring fast-talking dialogue, absurd jokes, and complete rewrites of the original script that made the show feel like a parody of itself. Despite its silliness, Samurai Pizza Cats developed a cult following, largely because it didn't take itself seriously. The action was decent, the characters were fun, and the sheer randomness of the show made it stand out among the sea of TMNT clones. While it never reached mainstream popularity in the US, it remains one of the most entertaining and unique takes on the anthropomorphic hero craze. Loonatics Unleashed. By the 2000s, the TMNT knockoff craze had mostly died down, but WB decided to revive the concept in a bizarre way, with Loonatics Unleashed. This show took the classic Looney Tunes characters and reimagined them as futuristic superhero versions of themselves, complete with X-Men-style powers and an edgy dystopian setting. Instead of Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and the rest of the gang, we got Ace Bunny, Danger Duck, and their team of crime-fighting extreme versions of themselves. The biggest issue with Loonatics Unleashed was that it completely missed what made Looney Tunes fun. Gone were the slapstick antics and clever humor, replaced with generic superhero action and brooding, cool character designs. It was WB's attempt to make Looney Tunes appeal to the Teen Titans crowd, but it ended up being a forgettable mess that alienated longtime fans. While some kids enjoyed it, the show never developed a strong fan base and was quickly forgotten.
Real cowboys standing up for law and order and living by the code of the West.
Wild West Cowboys of Mesa. One of the weirder TMNT knockoffs, Wild West Cowboys of Mesa combined mutant animals with Western tropes, giving us a world where humanoid cows acted as lawmen in a sun-scorched frontier town. Created by TMNT comic artist Ryan Brown, the show followed Marshal Moo Montana and his deputies as they fought crime in the Wild West. While it had some fun ideas, the mix of cowboy action and mutant animals never quite clicked, and the show faded into obscurity. Interestingly, the Cowboys of Mesa actually made a cameo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fast Forward, proving that even the most forgotten TMNT ripoffs still had some connection to the franchise that inspired them. Despite its short run, Mesa has its fans, but it never had the staying power of the Turtles.
Protect
Stone Protectors. If you've ever wondered what would happen if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Troll Dolls had a bizarre mutant baby, look no further than Stone Protectors. This show tried to combine the action-packed mutant animal formula of TMNT with the cutesy, collectible appeal of Troll Dolls, resulting in a team of rock musicians turned into stone-powered warriors. The heroes, Cornelius, Chester, Maxwell, Angus, and Clifford, gained magical gemstone powers after an encounter with an alien princess, leading them to battle the evil Zoc and his minions. Despite its blatant attempt to cash in on multiple trends at once, Stone Protectors failed to make an impact. The animation was subpar, the character designs were uninspired, and the mix of action and goofy humor never quite gelled. It didn't help that the toys, which were meant to rival TMNT and Battle Trolls, never caught on. The show barely lasted a season before being forgotten, proving that not every mutation experiment could strike gold. Biker Mice from Mars. One of the most successful TMNT knockoffs, Biker Mice from Mars managed to carve out its own niche rather than just being another blatant ripoff. The series followed three humanoid biker mice, Throttle, Moto, and Vinny, who escaped their war-torn home planet and landed on Earth, where they fought against the evil Plutarchians, a race of greedy, resource-stealing aliens. Instead of ninjutsu, these guys relied on motorcycles, big guns, and heavy metal attitude to take down their enemies. Despite its ridiculous premise, Biker Mice from Mars had solid action, a fun cast, and a killer soundtrack. It never reached TMNT's level of popularity, but it had a strong toy line and ran for 3 seasons, proving that it had some staying power. The show even received a short-lived revival in 2006. While it was still very much a product of the TMNT era, Biker Mice stood out thanks to its sci-fi elements and its balance of comedy and action, making it one of the better Turtles-inspired cartoons.
Now it's time to hit the road. Road Rovers!
Road Rovers. Road Rovers was Warner Brothers' attempt to throw their hat into the TMNT-style action team ring, though with a bit more self-awareness. The show featured a group of ordinary pet dogs transformed into humanoid superheroes by a scientist named Professor Shepard. Led by Hunter, a golden retriever, the team consisted of dogs from different countries, each with their own breed-specific powers and quirks. What set Road Rovers apart was its willingness to poke fun at itself. It had a surprisingly sharp sense of humor, often parodying the superhero and action-adventure tropes it was built on. While the show only lasted 1 season, it developed a small but dedicated fan base who appreciated its mix of satire and action. Unfortunately, its limited run meant it never had a chance to truly compete with TMNT, but it remains one of the more interesting attempts to capitalize on the mutant hero craze. The Adventures of T-Rex. If you thought Extreme Dinosaurs was the only attempt to mix dinosaurs and superhero antics, think again. The Adventures of T-Rex was one of the more obscure TMNT knockoffs, featuring 5 T-Rex brothers who worked as a rock band by day and crime-fighting masked heroes by night. The show took place in a city called Rep City, where the brothers used their martial arts skills and high-tech gadgets to battle the evil crime boss, Big Boss Graves. Despite its unique premise, the show never really took off. The character designs were stiff, the action was repetitive, and the whole rock band that fights crime gimmick felt forced. While TMNT managed to balance absurdity with engaging storytelling, The Adventures of T-Rex leaned too heavily into its novelty factor without developing strong characters or memorable villains. It quickly faded into obscurity, serving as yet another reminder that just because you slap martial arts onto anthropomorphic animals doesn't mean you'll create a hit.
We are defenders of the night. We are Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Now, Gargoyles wasn't a blatant TMNT ripoff, but it's impossible to ignore its place in the evolution of anthropomorphic hero shows. While other TMNT-inspired cartoons focused on attitude, catchphrases, and over-the-top action, Gargoyles took a more serious, story-driven approach. The show followed a group of ancient stone warriors who awaken in modern-day New York, forced to adapt to a world that has long forgotten them. Unlike the Turtles, who were known for their humor, Gargoyles leaned into Shakespearean drama, complex characters, and serialized storytelling. What made Gargoyles stand out was its mature tone and intricate world building. It was dark, sophisticated, and filled with deep lore, making it feel more like a serious animated epic than a Saturday morning cash grab. While it didn't rely on the TMNT formula, it undoubtedly benefited from the trend of action-oriented, team-based cartoons that TMNT popularized. It remains one of the most respected animated series of the 90s, proving that not all shows influenced by TMNT had to be cheap knockoffs. Super Robot Monkey Team HYPERFORCE Go! By the early 2000s, the TMNT knockoff craze had mostly died down, but Super Robot Monkey Team HYPERFORCE Go! Proved that the formula still had life. Airing on Jetix in 2004, this show combined anime-inspired visuals with a team of anthropomorphic heroes. The series followed Cairo, a regular boy who stumbles upon a team of robotic monkeys in a hidden lab and accidentally activates them, becoming their leader. Together, they form the HYPERFORCE and battle the evil Skeleton King in a futuristic cityscape. What made Super Robot Monkey Team HYPERFORCE Go! Stand out from earlier TMNT clones was its blend of Western action cartoons and anime-style storytelling. It had an overarching plot, character development, and some surprisingly dark themes for a show with Monkey Team in the title. While it never reached the popularity of TMNT or even Biker Mice from Mars, it gained a dedicated fan base and ran for 4 seasons. It was a solid attempt at revitalizing the anthropomorphic action team genre, even if it never fully broke into mainstream pop culture. Kung Fu Dino Posse. If Extreme Dinosaurs and Kung Fu Panda had a baby, it would be Kung Fu Dino Posse. This lesser-known 2009 series followed a group of ancient dinosaurs who were awakened in the modern world and used their martial arts skills to battle the evil Score, a T-Rex with plans for world domination. The show followed the typical TMNT knockoff structure. Each hero had a unique personality. There was an emphasis on teamwork, and the villains were mostly goofy but still dangerous. Unfortunately, Kung Fu Dino Posse didn't have much to offer beyond its premise. The animation was low budget, the action was underwhelming, and the humor felt forced. It tried to bring back the TMNT-style formula for a new generation, but by 2009, audiences had moved on. Without a strong toy line or memorable characters, it quickly faded into obscurity. While it had some appeal for younger kids, it never made an impact like TMNT or even Street Sharks.
Here come the mighty ducks, burning up the ice. Just try to stop the mighty ducks.
Mighty Ducks, the animated series. One of the more bizarre attempts to capitalize on the TMNT craze, Mighty Ducks took the name of the popular hockey franchise and turned it into a sci-fi action cartoon about anthropomorphic alien ducks fighting an intergalactic war. Instead of focusing on a team of human kids playing hockey, the show introduced a group of warrior ducks from planet Puckworld who were stranded on Earth while battling the evil Dragonus. When they weren't fighting crime, they played professional hockey. Because why not? Despite its ridiculous premise, Mighty Ducks actually had solid animation and decent action sequences. It leaned heavily into the superhero angle, making it feel more like Gargoyles than TMNT. But it still followed the familiar formula: team-based action, a mix of humor and serious moments, and a catchy theme song. While it only lasted 1 season, it developed a cult following, mostly because of its unique world-building and surprisingly well-done storytelling. It's one of the stranger TMNT-inspired shows, but for those who gave it a chance, it was a fun ride. Looking back, it's clear that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles didn't just inspire a few imitators. It launched an entire subgenre of anthropomorphic action teams. Some, like Biker Mice from Mars and Gargoyles, managed to stand out with strong storytelling and world building. Others, like Stone Protectors and Kung Fu Dino Posse, felt like desperate cash grabs that never found an audience. Even into the 2000s, shows like Super Robot Monkey Team HYPERFORCE Go! kept trying to tap into that formula, proving that the TMNT blueprint still had appeal long after Turtlemania had cooled down. Before we wrap up, I want to give a huge shout out to our Throwback Influencer tier members, Peace by Chaos, Thicula, iCritic, Mary Jarrell, and Jeremy Bowen. Your support means the world, and I truly appreciate you being part of the Let's Run It Back community. A massive thank you to all the other members as well. Your support helps keep the nostalgia alive and lets me keep making these videos. As a reminder, members get access to videos at least one day early, so if you want to see content before anyone else, consider joining. And if you want another way to support the channel, you can check out the merch store, grab some nostalgic gear, and rep Let's Run It Back in style. Every bit of support helps, and I couldn't do this without y'all. Whether they were radical, extreme, or just plain weird, these shows were a huge part of many childhoods. While none of them ever dethroned the Turtles, they made Saturday mornings and after-school TV a lot more interesting. So what was your favorite TMNT knockoff? Let's run it back and keep the nostalgia alive.
Go, ninja, go!